for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Locage. If the last time you went to Locage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you went back to Locage. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Thursday, February 16. It is 1 minute past 10 o'clock. And yes, it is the Sick Podcast. And we're talking Montreal Canadiens hockey on the sickest podcast that the city of Montreal and the country of Canada has ever known. And I actually tweeted that a couple of minutes ago. By the way, tonight I find like I have an energy that I haven't had in quite some time. I've been waiting to have this energy, and sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't. Well, you know who has the energy is Energy Transport. They have it all the time. Unlike me, who has it every night, they have it all the time. Energy Transportation Group is a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different and brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. La Bittt at Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bittt at Tibi, embrace your true nature. And Locage, if the last time you went to Locage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you go back to Locage. The menu will surprise you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be spending quite some time at Locage because I have a reservation for tomorrow night. As a matter of fact, right before WWE SmackDown. And speaking of which, a WWE performer, Raquel Rodriguez, will join me later on in the podcast. All right. Probably in about just over 40 minutes from now, Raquel Rodriguez is going to join us because this is arguably, and maybe not even arguably, the biggest week, wrestling week in the history of Montreal and wrestling. All right. So many performers and many wrestlers were actually at a meet and greet earlier today at PVM. And tomorrow morning, there's going to be a media day in downtown Montreal. And tomorrow night, obviously, is going to be WWE SmackDown. And on Saturday night is going to be Elimination Chamber with none other than Sami Zayn going up against Roman Reigns in the main event for the winner to have a crack at Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I think we have our guy. The Canadiens lose by a score of 6-2. Seth Jarvis scored a hat trick. His last goal coming late in period number 3. It was on a breakaway, and he's looking to take a shot, and then he lifts the leg as well, faking a shot, and then he brings it to his backhand and he scores. The Hurricanes are a machine, folks. They are a real machine. The Canadiens surprised quite a few by taking a 1-0 lead on a goal by Michael Pezzetta, which happened 3 minutes and 24 seconds into period number 1. But then Jesperi Kotkaniemi went from Burns to Neshkash to Kotkaniemi, who blew by. Kovacevic was out of position. Wideman just stayed back and didn't do anything, really. What a nightmare of a night it was for Chris Wideman. And Kotkaniemi, he was able to bring it to his backhand and put it up and over Samuel Montembeault, and that tied the game at 1. Seth Jarvis made it 2-1 after 1 period of play. They get to period number 2, and on a pass from Armia to Hoffman on the power play, he finds Raphael RVP Nard, and he ties the game at 2. And then period number 3, it was Carolina, only Carolina, and all Carolina. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Jordan Stahl, and Seth Jarvis again shorthanded with 20 seconds to go in regulation. The Hurricanes win by a score of 6-2. Do we have our guy? We don't have our guy. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Sammy and Yellow have master control. Just so you know, I'm grabbing my phone here. Okay, we're having a hard time getting a hold of George Larac, and so we'll see what we can do here. Let me just send a quick note, okay? All right. Okay. Allow me this, okay? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I've never done this before, by the way. Okay. Here we go. All right. So I sent them a note, and we'll get to it. Why don't we do this tonight, okay? It's been a long time that I've actually opened up the lines rather early. In the meantime, we're going to see if we can get a hold of George Larac. We're having a little bit of trouble here. Why don't I do this? I'll take your questions tonight. I'm going to take your calls. I'm going to take everything, all right? Your comments, whatever you want to do, no problem at all. 1-888-585-7425 is the number. 1-888-585-SICK. So you can already jump on a line now, because usually I open up the phone lines probably after a game, maybe 40 minutes, maybe 40 minutes in. Emilien Juteau. Hey, Tony, can we talk WWE in the meantime? Sure. What do you want to talk about? Hey, by the way, you know that tonight, and of course you know this, that we gave away 2 pairs of 2 tickets to The Undertaker's One Dead Man show, which was taking place at the Olympia Theater earlier tonight. I would have liked to have gone. I had some tickets for myself as well. And I was hoping that Matt O'Hain could have filled in, but unfortunately Matt couldn't, because it's his sister's birthday. All right. So, maybe I would have even thought of going, tried to get back, but I can't do that when the Canadians are playing a game, right? I'm not going to come on the air or on the podcast and talk Montreal Canadiens hockey after a game without watching the game. I don't do stuff like that. So I said to Agnello, Matt can't make it tonight. It's his sister's birthday. Totally understandable. I'm not going, and that's it. I'm going to be doing the podcast. So here we are. But luckily, I'm going to be able to go to the WWE SmackDown event on Friday night. And on Saturday, I've been invited to watch it from a loge, a friend's loge. So I'm looking forward to that, and meeting a lot of people and stuff like that. So I'm going to be at La Cage tomorrow at the Bell Center, which is going to be packed. I'm going to be there obviously before the event. And so if you're going to be at La Cage at the Bell Center tomorrow and downstairs, come by and say hello. I'd like to meet as many of you as possible. But Raymond Sing Sign Sold, who's an avid viewer of the Sick podcast, he threw this out there yesterday saying, hey, can we have some kind of an event, a social gathering with everyone who watches the Sick podcast? And I said, yeah, and Yellow and I have already been talking about it. We're working on it, and we're going to have like a 5 cassette very shortly. We're going to wait for the hockey season to be over, the Canadian season to be over, that is, so that our local contributors will be available, and we're going to try and pick a day or a night where everyone's going to be available, and we're going to get everyone there at the same time. So that's going to be pretty cool. Agnello and Sammy, if you want to throw some questions, you can, and just put them up on the screen here, and I'll try and tackle them as best I can. In the meantime, 1-888-585-7425. Tony, any word on whether Galley will be back this season? This coming in from Steve Lunny. Yes, Brendan Gallagher will play before the end of the year. At least that is the plan. Next up, Phil Pelsar. Hey, Tony, the Habs have 80% chance to pick 7th or 8th at the time with the first pick. Who do you pick? Well, Phil, if you tell me who's going to come out in the first 6, I'll be able to tell you. But if we don't know who's going to come out in the first 6, well, then I probably won't be able to tell you. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. I'm going to bring you in on a little secret here, okay? Everyone who works covering hockey, the National Hockey League, their time is limited. those who try to talk about the draft and the prospects, they're getting the information mostly from scouts from NHL teams, independent scouts, those who run scouting services, but they'll come on and they'll pretend to be experts when they haven't watched any of these players play, with the exception of the World Juniors and maybe a weekend or two. All right? There are some who do get out and watch. But for example, I'm not going to pretend to be a draft expert. All right? I live in Montreal. I usually don't travel during the hockey season. I don't go out to watch games in the queue unless there's a phenom named Crosby playing in the queue, and then I'm going to go watch. I talk to scouts. I talk to those who run independent scouting services. I talk to teams. But if you want me to give you a extended scouting report on a player that I haven't seen play live, I'm not going to fake it. There are some who fake it. That's not going to be me. So I can basically tell you my opinion on what I saw at the World Juniors from some players, what I'm hearing. I can give you that opinion, but to give you an extended scouting report, like I can tell you about Connor Bedard for sure. I can tell you about Adam Fantilli for sure. I can tell you about Leo Carlson for sure. I can tell you about Matt Vichkov. I can tell you about what I saw from Dalibor Dvorsky. But if you want me to go and, to an extended scouting report on Zach Benson or Will Smith or Braden Yeager, or, I'm not going to fake that, folks. I'm not going to fake that, But anyway, so many mock drafts that are out there, by the way, which are interesting. Several of them have the Canadians, picking 6th, picking 11th, or 12th with Florida's pick. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yesterday, I read a stat that the Canadians had a real good chance of finishing in the top, or getting a top 4 pick. Adam Lancaster says, tell us about Quinton Musty. I can't tell you about him. Quinton Musty, our draft expert on Quinton Musty, is the snake. Simo, the snake, Boisvert. Habs need to take Michkov. Any other player is dumb. I believe that Michkov and Bedard are the 2 players that have the most individual talent and individual ability and the best skills. We know Bedard's going to go 1. I don't know if Michkov's going to go 2. Some teams are going to be scared off because he plays in the KHL and he's committed there for quite some time. And, maybe other teams are going to want to play her right away. I would take him in a hurry. All right. Something I have to tackle here from PO. Tony, Sporting Clube de Portugal at $1.30 didn't hit. Why don't you give a value pick instead when you're on the radio with Jean-Charles? P.O., I'm going to answer this question right now because I think it's time that people know the truth, okay? I often give favorites, and very often I'm right. For some, yeah, but you're giving favorites. Of course, you're going to be off. You're going to be right very often. Okay. There's a reason why I do it. All right. Now, that segment is sponsored, and the sports book that sponsors it, they were nice to say, for every correct pick that you guys make, we're going to give a certain amount to a charity of your choice. And the charity that I chose is Families of Spinal Muscular Atrophy, which, of course, my buddy Sammy, who's the owner of Sick Media, the owner of the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro, he suffers from spinal muscular atrophy. So I said the cause I choose is spinal muscular atrophy. So because they said that for every correct pick, they are going to donate an amount to the cause in my name. I want to get as many right as possible. I don't want to start taking underdogs. I don't want to start taking value picks. And then, at the end, we give, a very little amount to a charity. If we're going to raise money for charity, I want to raise as much as possible, especially a charity that's very, very close to my heart, which is Families of Spinal Muscular Atrophy, which Sammy has. And his parents, Rosa and Agnello and Sammy, they've been hosting a Sammy's Valentine's Gala. It's gone on for about close to 20 years. The Cavalleros, Agnello and his wife, Rosa, are responsible for raising over $2 million for the charity. Nobody in the country has raised more money for spinal muscular atrophy than Rosa and Agnello. So I've been to their event for the last 10 years when I was introduced to them. I volunteered my time every single year, and my efforts and everything, and I try and do whatever I can. So I'm going to try and so this is the story. Okay, so you're probably never heard it as to why I'm going with favorite picks. You just keep on hearing that I'm going with favorites and favorites and favorites all the time without having the context, without knowing. And I told you, and the truth shall set you free. And special thanks to the Sportsbook for doing everything they could. I mean, it's a beautiful gesture from them. All right. Okay. Other questions. You see, we should have this segment where people could just ask me whatever they want. And if you ask me whatever, and sometimes, you know what? It doesn't have to be sports related. I mean, let's not get too personal. But you see a question like that, you asked, I gave you the answer. In life, there's answers to everything. You just, but you got to ask and you asked. It's now time for You Called.
You Called. Presented by Playground.
Your premier gaming destination located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. A scary moment in tonight's game for Justin Barron, who was tripped up by Svechnikov, and he went into the boards face first, but it looked like his left shoulder took the brunt of it. At least that's what it looked like to me. And he left in the second period, and luckily he came back for the third. But the Canadians already down. Joel Edmondson, who's out with an injury, and Arbor Jacki, who's out with an injury, and then Justin Barron. And Barron's been playing pretty good hockey as of late. And by what can we say that we haven't said already about Rafael RV Pinard, who scored his 7th goal of the season? This guy is absolutely unbelievable. It's incredible. All right. Incredible. 1-888-585-7425. If you want to give me a call, now's your chance. Now's your chance to give me a call. So go for it. And if you want to continue to ask questions, you can ask whatever you want. All right. So we have a caller, and I'm going to say hello. I don't know who it is. Hello, who's this? David in Toronto?
Hey,
is that
Tony, it's David. How you
Hey,
doing?
David, what's going on?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing extremely well. Last night at around this time, was it last night or a couple of nights ago? A couple of nights ago. All right, a couple of nights ago. The first caller of the night really rattled me because I asked him what he was doing, and he hesitated before answering, and then asked me how old the viewers are. And I figured that it was something, and there was. Anyway, he rattled me. I'm hoping you're not going to rattle me the same way.
No, so I'm in Toronto. I'm really looking forward. I'm going to the game actually on Saturday with the Habs against the Leafs. I'm really looking forward to watching the Habs.
How much did tickets cost you?
Oh, I got them as a birthday gift.
Good for you.
Yeah, but my question to you is, I've been really impressed with Harvey Pinard, and I'm sure a lot of people are, obviously. And I'm curious what your thoughts on his ceiling is, because I'm worried if this is like a one-hit wonder, or do you actually see him being, where do you see his ceiling at?
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. So I'm going to have a hard time answering this, but I'm going to give you an opinion. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do even better than that, okay? I'm gonna get his agent on the line next week, right here on the podcast. Okay, I'll get his agent on. And I met his agent several years ago, a young man by the name of Chad Levitt from Cutting Edge Management, and my boys were working out at a gym, and he was there. I'm not so sure. I mean, probably working out. He's in real good shape, but he was representing a couple of athletes, a couple of players himself, and they were working out at that same gym. Anyway, we got to talking, and so kept in touch. And a couple of years later, he says to me, he says, "Hey, I'm representing Rafael RV Pinard." And I'm like, Rafael RV Pinard. All right. Well, where are you going to go with Rafael RV Pinard? I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, that's the first thing that, like, okay, Rafael RV Pinard. All right. Career what? Career AHLer. And obviously, I was wrong. And he told me, and I got him on the air, and he told me he empties the tank every shift. And when you hear that, that's Brendan Gallagher in his prime, right? Brendan Gallagher in his prime emptied the tank every shift. Unfortunately for Brendan Gallagher is that, one injury became two became four became six. And the next thing you know, he's no longer the same Brendan Gallagher. Add to that he got a little older. Add to that the league got a little bit younger. Add to that the league got a little bit faster. Add to that a couple of the injuries were hand injuries, and now all of a sudden he lost a little bit of his shot. And add to that the car was just going into the garage far too often. And you can try and fix the car as much as you want, but it's never the same as it was before it went in, right? And so he's similar in that way. But I really like this kid, and maybe he can be the next Brendan Gallagher, because, I mean, he actually scored his first 5 goals in the National Hockey League. I think it was 5 in the same amount of games that Brendan Gallagher had scored them. And Gallagher had the record for the quickest to 5 goals, I think, in quite some time. And he was able to match that. Rafael RV Pinard in the Q had a season of 40 goals. He had a season of 34 goals. In the AHL, he had a season of 21 goals. He was scoring on average about a goal every 3.5 games. And this year, I believe he had like 15 goals in 35 or 37 games, something like that. So his average was even better. His average in the National Hockey League is even better than his average was in the American Hockey League. Look, he might become a 30-goal scorer. I mean, the guy, he works hard. He's got probably better hands, I think it's safe to say, than a lot of us would have thought before he got here. And he does something that's very important for goal scorers. And that is he just knows where goals are scored. He's, where the puck is, and it's going to go for goals to be scored. It just seems like he always finds himself there. And that's a knack. And some players have it, and most do not. And he has it. And that's a real good quality to have.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think it would be great if he can get 30 goals in a year. I mean, I think not many people expected that until they see him this season, right? So. Yeah,
no, and he's what an amazing story it is, eh? Like, his story is really, really amazing. By the way, kid comes from a great family. Good people. And his sister is a member of the media. She writes for La Presse newspaper, and she's a very talented writer. He's a very talented hockey player, and I think it's safe to say that their parents did a great job with those kids. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, Tony, thank you. Can Kent Hughes be convinced to trade Jake Allen? I don't want to speak for Kent Hughes, but I'll tell you that if Kent Hughes gets an offer that he can't refuse, he can be convinced. Says Lou Brass, nah, come on, Tony. I love Rafael Pinard, but this guy could go cold for the next 20 games, and all of a sudden he's back in the AHL. In my opinion, he's a 20 goals, 35, 40-point ceiling in the National Hockey League. And by the way, that's fine, and that's safe to say, and chances are you're going to be right. But at the same time, Nobody thought that he was going to score these goals in the amount of games that he scored. So anything is possible. But, you know, if Rafael Harvey-Pinard scores 20 goals in the National Hockey League, nothing to spit at, eh? Not an easy thing to do to score 20 goals in the National Hockey League. Not at all. Jeffrey, what's going on?
Tony, long time no talk.
Jeffrey, what's going on?
You remember me? Our band is up. The band is up. I'm back.
Do I remember you? You're going to have to refresh my memory. Tell me.
You had me titled the Toronto guy. You banned me. You only banned me for the rest of the year.
Oh, so I suspended you for the entire season?
Yeah, but it's 2023 now, and I thought, what better day to call than when Montreal gets thrashed?
Yeah.
6-2.
Uh-huh. So I banned you for the year or for the season? What did I ban you for?
No, just the rest of the year. Well, you have a hard time remembering things, eh?
Well,
you get old. You get old, just like that garbage team. Listen, Tony.
Yeah, Jeffrey. You want to know why I have a hard time remembering certain things? For two reasons.
You're old.
Yeah, for two reasons. No, I'm not old because age is just a number. Here's the deal. Number one reason why I have a hard time remembering some calls is because I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing it full time. I've been doing it for about 11 months a year full time for 20 years. I would say give or take, I've probably done between podcasts and radio shows over 5,000. I would say that I probably spoke to over 10,000 people, not to mention the people that I speak to in the streets, in events, here, there, and everywhere. So
I don't know who you're bragging to. You have no right to even talk.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Can you please mute him? This is my show. It's not your show. Okay. That's number one. This is not bragging. I'm not bragging about nothing. Okay. This is my career thus far that I'm very, very proud of, very happy about, and I feel privileged to do what I've done. I'm not bragging. I never forget I haven't forgotten where I come from. I always make time for people. You told me I have a bad memory. I said, I don't think I have a bad memory. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I probably spoken to about 10,000 people live on the air, not to mention people that I meet on the street, at events, at bars, restaurants, this, that. That's the number one reason why I forget things at time. I just speak to too many people. The other reason why I don't always remember is because sometimes I don't want to remember. So when you said, do I remember you, based on your tone and your attitude and your arrogance and your condescending and the fact that you're trolling, it's safe to say, I don't want to remember you. Do me a favor. Don't call this podcast anymore because this podcast is only for winners. And when your team wins, then maybe you can call back. But chances are I'll probably hang up again. You have a great night. You have a great time. You have a great year. Go Leafs, go. Yeah. By the way, the best thing about Toronto is the highway back to Montreal. Thank you. All right, where are we going next? At 1-888-585-7425. By the way, it can only get better than that last caller. It's not going to get worse. It can only get better. But you know what? Like, if you're going to live in Toronto and you're going to call because you want to brag about something, brag to us in Montreal that you have a baseball team. Okay. Brag that maybe you make more money than us. Maybe. But, don't call us in Montreal to tell us that we're losers. Especially when the last time the two teams squared off in the playoffs, your team was up 3-1 and they choked the way they always do. And by the way, if you want a debate versus Marinaro, Good luck. Where are we going? Says Christopher, Tony, when will we have an event meet and greet with you, the Marination? Well, Christopher, I've had several events already, by the way, at the Cash, several. But once again, we're going to have one when the Canadiens season is over and all of our collaborators are available. 1-888-585-7425, 1-888-585-7425. Agnello, you bring up the calls right here on the Sick Podcast. And if not, bring up a couple of questions and we'll get to them. Hello, who's this?
Couple of questions, and we'll get to them.
Hello, who's this?
It's Tony.
Tony, you're listening to me right now. I hear the 7-second delay or the echo. Put it down if you can. Tony, what's going on?
Yes. How you doing, Tony?
Very good. Who's this?
It's Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
Oh, it's Kevin. Okay, I thought it was Tony. I thought you said it was Tony. You wanted to speak to Tony, correct?
I'm watching you through my my laptop. So that's
yeah. You're watching me on your laptop. Yes. Okay. Kevin, what's going on? Where are you calling me from?
Okay, I'm from Montreal, but I live in Toronto and I live in Montreal, so I go back and forth.
You go back and forth. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you're a drug dealer.
What?
You're a drug dealer?
No, man.
Well, I mean, you go back and forth from Toronto. What do you want me to tell you?
My kids live in Montreal, and my family lives in Toronto. We moved back in the days. Now we're in Toronto. So I go back and forth. I'm here in Toronto because the money's good.
Yeah, I'm kidding, Kevin. Hey, by the way, you know that I'm playing with you, right? Good for you. Good for you. Whereabouts in Toronto are you exactly?
In Whitby.
Whitby's very nice. Okay, what's going on, Kevin? Talk to me.
I've been listening to you for a long time, Tony. You know,
Yeah.
I'm from Jamaica, and I remember back in the days that I've been watching the hockey team, Montreal Canadiens, beautiful team. The first time I see them in '86, back when I lived in the Parkex, across the street from Ogilvy. I enjoy Montreal very much.
Is that right? Eh? So yeah. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna make you privy to something. Okay, I'm gonna make you privy to something. I'm already looking forward to my summer vacation. Okay, and I've never been to Jamaica before. Never.
Listen, you're always excited. You can always I have a house down there in Jamaica.
Is that right? Now hold on a second. Okay, so hold on a second here. Now I've been to St. Martin, I've been to Puerto Plata, I've been to Punta Cana, I've been to La Romana, I've been to Aruba, I've been to Playa Mujeres, I've been to Bahamas. I've been to some of these all-inclusive spots, right? Okay, but you know what I'm looking at right now? Yeah. It's in pole position, as a matter of fact. It's on the top of my list. I'm looking at the Royalton Negril.
I've been there before. Beautiful.
It's a 7-mile long beach.
Yes. Very beautiful.
Correct?
Very beautiful. Yes. Very beautiful.
I heard that there's an Italian restaurant in there that is absolutely lights out.
Yes, there's two Italian restaurants. There's one there and there's one along the beach. They serve vegan food.
Yeah, that's right. The steakhouse is unbelievable, right?
I don't eat steak, Tony.
Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect. They have a sports bar in there that I've been told is out of this world. Anyway, it's I've been looking at it. It looks like a real beautiful spot. I got some good reviews on it, courtesy of Sunwing Airlines, that they would be flying out and all inclusive. This is the destination right now that is in pole position for me. Okay. Royalton Negril with Sunwing Airlines. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Listen, Tony, you could have been in Jamaica a long time. Once you go to Jamaica, Tony, you will always go back. Jamaica is the number one spot in the Caribbean, and I feel bad that you didn't go there in the first place. You should have been there many years ago. You went everywhere else except for Jamaica, Tony.
Yeah,
the food is the best food you're gonna taste besides some Italian food.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was a little worried that I would go there with the family and my wife would like it so much that she wouldn't come back, you know?
A lot of people say that. Tony.
What's going on, Kevin? What's going on? I'm having fun with you, man. What's going on?
So I was talking about Montreal. So Montreal,
Yeah.
I really love Montreal from back in the 80s from Patrick Roy. I met Patrick Roy one time in West Island. I used to live in West Island. I stayed him down there. But the new team right now, the direction they're going, it has need to lose. I need them to get a high draft. They need to get rid of trade Savard, trade Emerson, and keep the young core of defense going forward.
Well, you know, coaches and general managers will tell you that you can't trade all your veterans because your youngsters need somebody to show them the way, and they need a stabilizer there. They need the locker room guys as well. I'll say this, because of their depth at left defense, there's a much better chance that Joel Edmondson gets traded way before David Savard, who's a right-handed defenseman, a position where the Canadiens don't have a lot of right-handed defensemen, right?
Okay.
Hey, I have a gentleman called Wal Sai on YouTube Live. He said, Kevin sounds cool big time. He thinks you sound cool, man.
Thank you. Tell him thank you.
He said, you've just told him, right? He's watching right now. And then, yeah. Maybe we'll all meet up in Jamaica one day. Me, you, Wal.
Listen to me, Tony, you got to come to Jamaica, man. Big up Jamaica. Big up to Jamaican fans in Jamaica. And I need you to come, Tony.
I heard the Jamaican patties are out of this world.
Jamaican patties are always out of this world. Listen to me, there's a nice restaurant in Côte d'Ivoire and Victoria.
Yeah?
Go there one day. Yeah, go there one day and we'll go to a Jamaican restaurant around the area. You'd be surprised, Tony.
Yeah, Alfred Vega says, Jamaica's beautiful, Tony, but try old San Juan, Puerto Rico.
No. Puerto Rico can't stop us. Listen to me.
No, never mind. Jamaica's got the jerk chicken, right? They got the jerk chicken.
We have the jerk chicken, jerk steak, jerk pork. You know what I'm saying?
Raymond Singh says that we can have like a 5 set, like some cocktails in Montego Bay.
That's right, Tony. Right on the beach.
If we're going to the Montego Bay, we're probably going to the Grand Palladium.
Grand Palladium is very beautiful, Tony.
My friend, you know these travel destinations. You have no idea.
Marble floors, Tony. Big Coliseum, Tony. Very.
You have no idea how much research I do on travel, like after sports,
yes,
and food, and the desserts and stuff like that. These are big passions of mine. Travel's a big time passion too. Big time passion.
Travel is a big time passion. I've been to Japan. Japan is beautiful. I've been to Vietnam.
Oh, you've been to Japan? Beautiful. You've been to Vietnam? Really?
Yeah, I went there in 2019 and 2018. Listen to me, man. Japan is off the hook. Japan is like New York, but safe.
Yeah, but the big question is, have you ever been to Bangkok?
No, I'm going there in a couple of months, actually.
Is that well? Listen, I hope
the whole Asian tour. So I'm going to.
I hope that when you go to Bangkok,
yes,
you have a you have a good time like the guys in The Hangover did, because they had a very, very memorable trip. The Hangover. That's the Wolf Pack. Brian, Doug, Alan, and Stu.
That's right. The best movie. Hands up.
You know what? Listen, I was just thinking about it. Maybe we'll meet up in Jamaica one day, and we can be part of a wolf pack ourselves. It'll be me, you, Agnello, and Sammy, or we'll get Agnello out of it. Me, you, Sammy, and Raymond Singh.
That's no problem.
Sign, sold.
Tony, that is perfect.
Did you see the goal that Kakanyemi scored tonight?
Well, I love Kakanyemi. As I said, we should have got Kachuk.
Well, 100%. They should have got Brady. I think that's the nicest goal that Jesperi Kakanyemi has scored in the National Hockey League thus far. Kevin, you sound like a good guy to me. And maybe
it's out of passion. It's out of passion, Tony. It was out of passion, and you got traded from the team.
I hear you, bud. Hey, nice talking to you. Maybe we'll meet up in Toronto. If not, maybe we'll meet up in Montreal. If not, maybe we'll meet up in Jamaica. We'll talk to you soon.
Tony. Nice talking to you.
Hey, I'm going to be back, but to promote this great WWE week that we're having in Montreal, I want to tell you that I had a chance. I pre-recorded a great chat, and I want to introduce her to you with WWE performer, the great Raquel Rodriguez. She's coming up. Pleasure for me to bring in our next guest from the WWE, Raquel Rodriguez. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me on Sick Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. I have a feeling you're going to be a sick guest and we're going to have a sick chat. So I'm looking forward to this. Welcome to Montreal.
Thank you. This is a first for me. I've never been to Canada, so Montreal is my first time up north.
Wow. I know you're going to be busy at the Elimination Chamber on Saturday night, but before we get to that, are you going to have any free time at all to visit the city?
You know, I might have a little bit when I land Thursday evening, hopefully. If not, maybe probably the next visit into town.
I got it. Of course, your travel, we know what it is for professional wrestlers. It's very, very extensive. On average, how many days per month would you say you travel?
Days per month. Let's see, 30 minus probably like 20. I would say 20 to like 22, depending on the month and depending how busy the month is too. Because, you know, like these past 2 weeks since we're promoting Elimination Chamber, SmackDown has been going to Raw and Raw has been coming to SmackDown. So we've been traveling 5 days out of the week these past 2 weeks. So it really just depends.
The good news is you see the world and you accumulate travel miles.
Exactly. Pretty soon I'm going to be up in first class, getting all my points taken care of.
Good for you. Raquel, you're a second generation wrestler. And I would imagine that that's how you fell in love with the sport, right? Because for you, you were living it.
Yes. And I tell this story all the time, but the short version is the day my mom went into labor with me, my dad had a tag match and they didn't think I was coming that quick. So his tag partner convinced him to go to work that night. And I was born while my dad was wrestling. So since the day I was born, I've been living the dream. I can't complain.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Was there ever a moment where there was ever any doubt at all where you said, you know what, this is tough because, you know, you're right now in the premier wrestling league in the world. Like there's nothing bigger than the WWE. It is the absolute best. It's not easy to make your way to the top. And then once you're there, it's not easy to stay there. Was there ever a moment throughout all those trials and tribulations where you probably took a step back and you said, I don't know if I could do this?
100%. 100%. I've had multiple incidences where I've had that specific moment and I've taken a step back. I've really questioned, you know, what it is I'm wanting to do with my life. And thankfully, I have a very supportive father who initially he didn't want me to be into the same business as him because, you know, he was in it and it was a different time for women then. So he knew exactly what I was getting into. But as time changed and as I went through college and graduated and finally came around and said, you know, I really want to give this a shot. That's where he kind of opened up and supported me and even moving away from Texas for the first time, moving to Florida, being hours away from him. It was tough because I am very close with my family. And so not having them near me while I'm going through all of these trials and tribulations and questioning who I am, what I'm doing, where am I going? You know, it was a point in my life where I feel like that's where I became the strongest because I told myself, no matter what, I am miles ahead of where I ever thought I would be as a little girl coming from South Texas. And that in itself is a huge accomplishment. And I cannot just stop and give up. I have to keep trying. I have to keep fighting because I feel like I have something different that I can bring to the WWE. I have something that other little girls who also feel different and are questioning themselves, you know, they can relate to me a little bit more. And so that's what I want to share with the world, really.
That's awesome. With each passing day, women's wrestling is getting bigger and bigger. But as you made your way through the ranks, is it tough to infiltrate as a woman? Because it's a very male dominant sport, but once again, it's getting bigger and bigger and growing more and more with women. Was it tough to make your way or were you automatically accepted?
It was tough. It really was tough, especially for me being one of the bigger girls on the roster. You know, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm the tallest on all 3 brands, I believe. And so when you come with that kind of size and that kind of intimidation, your character, your face, everything that comes with you also has to emulate that. And so even stepping into the ring, you have to be 100% confident in everything that you do, everything that you throw. There is intent behind every move set. And that's something that I feel like it took me a while to grasp. But once I was able to get a hold of it and really start believing in myself and realizing what it is that I bring to the ring that's different, because we see these people do all these amazing things. We see these men do these amazing things in cage matches and all the stipulations that they have. And so we as women, we want to show that we can do that too. We can do what the boys can do. And so it's going in there and having the same confidence, I think, that's key that the men have. And I think that's something that the women are really bringing now, because we're showing everyone that we can put on 5-star matches and we can be main event of WrestleMania too, and then even just getting an opportunity to be the first women's main event for an NXT takeover that happened for WrestleMania and getting to win the women's title, knowing that they believe in me that much to be the person, the woman, the face, that in itself speaks miles. And so that's the kind of confidence that I think I try to carry with myself all the time. Every time I step into the ring is like, they believe in me. I believe in me. Everyone else is going to just fall into place and believe in me as well, because 100% that is what I'm bringing. I am bringing you Raquel, and that is what you're going to get.
Well, and you've brought it, and you've quickly become a fan favorite. There's no doubt about it. Raquel, I've been talking sports and talking to athletes and talking sports entertainment for over 20 years. So I've seen a lot. But the one thing I haven't seen, which I'd love to see one day, and I don't even know if I could ever get access, would be the WWE Performance Center, because I'm really intrigued about it, because it's really a school, right? It's a school for you to get to the top. And once you're at the top, it's a school that you can still keep on going to, so that you can basically perfect your craft, right?
100%.
Can you kind of, like, for someone who's never been there, kind of paint the picture and take me into the WWE Performance Center, and if I would walk in, what I would see, what I would find, what you're working on?
Yeah, so the Performance Center has changed a lot from the first time I started there. I know we still have pictures of what it used to look like. So as you walk in through the front door, you're immediately greeted with posters and memorabilia of superstars and legends that have walked through those same doors to teach and learn themselves. And you go in straight and you will find like a couple of the offices for some of our coaches. It's where they get together, where they discuss, the talent that we have at hand, who can fit where and what storyline, and just where we have our usual meetings. But then as you get to the back, when I first started, there used to be 6 wrestling rings in there. And one of them had a, like a softer type of filling in the mat just to practice our, 450s and moonsaults, and not me, but, the ones who do it. I tried to throw a moonsault once or twice, and it was okay. But yeah, you see all of those rings, and what you get is you get a feel of pretty much kind of what you would have at a college campus. If you were at a college campus checking out their athletic facilities, because you have people in there just hungry. And you can feel the energy when you're in there of people just learning new movesets, running the ropes, upping their cardio, working in a ring for the first time, getting their feet wet with taking hits and taking bumps. And then, of course, you have your weight room, too. And the weight room itself, Sean Hayes created such an amazing atmosphere in the weight room for all of us NXT athletes, because we even had competitions like the Combine, where we would go against each other and see who could deadlift the most, who could squat the most, who can row the fastest, 300 meters in 3 minutes. Let's try and do it. So it really is like an athletic atmosphere. And I think as a former college athlete, I feel like it was super easy to just kind of assimilate into that role. You get up in the morning, you have class, you go, you roll around, you learn something new that day, then you go to weights. Then you can eat if you have a little bit of a break in between. When I was there, we were also doing live events every weekend, which NXT started back up with our coconut shows.
Yeah,
so we would go in Fridays, we would train, we would go home, shower, change, grab our bags, and then drive an hour, 2 hours away to a town, set up the ring, put on a show, tear it all down, and come back. So
wow.
It's an amazing place. And like I said, the performance has changed so much, the Performance Center, because now you have where they shoot NXT, and then they have one ring in there, and that's where the people come and they watch it every Tuesday night. And so we have a whole nother area that's now set up for training with multiple rings, so that everybody can get in and get whatever it is they want to work on done.
And like Rocky, when he used to train out of that gym in Philadelphia, like all the athletes there, they have that eye of the tiger. That's what you're talking about, right?
Oh yeah. And it's because there's such limited spots and everybody's fighting for an opportunity and everyone's fighting to make it to Raw and to SmackDown and to be on NXT TV and to be live every week because we're live Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So that those are multiple opportunities that people are just fighting for and everybody's so hungry that you just feel that when you're in there. And I don't think I've ever walked into the PC and been like, oh, it's going to be an easy day today. No, I feel everybody's hungry and it makes me more hungrier. And I'm like, I have to go in there and I have to show out 120% because I want them to know who the alpha female is here, right?
You're damn right. All right. And speaking of opportunity, you have a beautiful opportunity that has presented itself here. We are very excited in Montreal, Raquel, because, and I'm sure you can imagine, Montreal is a big wrestling city. Montreal and wrestling go back a long, long time. And as a kid, I used to watch, international wrestling on Saturdays at noon at the Paul Sauvé Arena. And a lot of great wrestlers have come out of Montreal, wrestled out of Montreal, were born in the province of Quebec. This is it's probably the most important week in the history of wrestling in Montreal. The Undertaker will be doing his one dead man show at the Olympia Theater on Thursday night. On Friday night, it's WWE SmackDown at the Bell Center. On Saturday night, it's Elimination Chamber at the Bell Center with the main event on the men's side being Sami Zayn, of course, going up against Roman Reigns, with the winner getting a shot at Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. You're involved in the Elimination Chamber, which I don't know if you could, I'm sure you could explain it better than I can, but it's almost like a cage within a cage, within a cage, within a cage. There's several cages, right? And you're going to be part of a fight with a match with what, 5 other wrestlers?
Yes, 5 other women.
5 other women wrestlers. And the winner is going to the show at WrestleMania in terms of the main event. Is that it?
That's it. The winner will face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania.
Wow. How can you put into words? We know you're excited. Can we put into words your level of excitement? And did you ever think that in 2023 that you would be having a shot at being in the main event of WrestleMania, being involved in a match like this, a 6 women's elimination chamber event?
It's honestly, it's been hard for me to really look past what I have currently going on because, like you said, this is against 6 women for an opportunity. But just in January, we had the Royal Rumble, which was against 30 women, and that was for an opportunity as well. So Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble, as we all know. That's why she has her opportunity to take down the Queen, Charlotte Flair, for the SmackDown Women's title. But this is like the second chance, you know what I mean? So there's a little bit more stakes on the line here. And also, there's only 5 women. We could all be in there at the same time. It could just be down to the 2 that are in there at that moment. But I would say, man, my level of excitement is at like 500 million thousand right now because I absolutely love being in cages. I got to participate in 2 War Games matches in NXT. And it's just something that I feel like with a person of my size and my strength, it is just a huge advantage for me because I can easily pick these girls up and throw them into the cage. So I know that I have a lot of good things happening on my side for the Elimination Chamber. Have I ever been in a chamber? Because 4 women are actually in plastic, or I'm not sure what they're made out of, but they're like clear chambers, and then the door opens up every 5 minutes and lets one of them out. So that's why it could be all of us at one time. It could be 3 at one time. Who knows? But that in itself is like, I'm just imagining myself, if I'm not one of the first women to start this, I'm going to be in the chamber and I'm just going to be like, let me out. Like, I just want to, I'm just so excited to be in a cage again.
It's funny you're saying that, Raquel, because you're describing it. And I can feel, and I'm not even involved, but this like nervous energy going through my body. I can't imagine what it would feel like to be there on Saturday night, getting ready, and it's your turn to go with 20,000 people going absolutely nuts. I mean, the feeling, the adrenaline must be like another level.
Oh, it is. The thing about these matches too is that I know I won't sleep for the rest of the night because my adrenaline is going to be running so high. I will not be tired. I will be riding that adrenaline wave all the way until the next morning, no doubt. And then, like you said, like even in front of 20,000 people, like that just blows my mind how many eyes are going to be on us while we're in those chambers getting ready to be released into this cage for the last opportunity for a women's title match at WrestleMania, which WrestleMania as well in LA has been sold out for how long now? I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be one of the biggest WrestleManias in history. And so the pressure is definitely on, the excitement is definitely felt, but like I am just over the moon about even just getting to be in a chamber with Asuka, with Liv, with Nikki Cross, with Carmella, with Natalia Neidhart, your fellow Canadian. Like that in itself is gonna be sick.
Yeah. And if you know what, how many Tejana bombs are we gonna see?
Oh, you're gonna see all the Tejana bombs. I plan maybe even there's 5 other women, 5 I would say, because that right there is after they get hit with that, they're not getting back up. Someone's gonna have to carry them out of the cage, and it might be me. I might just toss them out to the rest.
And for those who've never seen it before, what do? You mount them on your shoulder and you just
it's a single arm. Yeah, it's a single arm power bomb pretty much. So I pick them up with one arm and then just right here, straight down into the mat. Splat, they go.
Raquel Rodriguez, this has been an absolute pleasure. Saturday night, Elimination Chamber in Montreal at the Bell Center. You told us that after the match, the adrenaline will be so high, you're probably not going to sleep. But I'll end it with this. Do you have a pre-match routine? Do you nap during the day leading up to the event?
Oh no, and to be honest, I probably won't even sleep the night before leading up to the event because I'm so excited. Sometimes I need like a little bit of melatonin or something to knock me out. I don't know.
My God, you know what? You're describing it. I can understand why people are buying tickets the way they are. I'm not going to sleep going into the event. I am happy to say that I will be at the Undertaker's One Dead Man show on Thursday. I will be at WWE SmackDown on Friday, and I will definitely be at the Elimination Chamber at the Bell Center on Saturday night. Hey, here's a word of advice. I know you said it's your first time to Montreal. I don't know if you're going to wear a Montreal Canadiens jersey, but if you know what, if you have anything that's Montreal Canadiens related, the fans already love you. They will love you for life if you can bring in anything that's Montreal Canadiens. Just remember that, okay?
I will. Maybe in the airport, I'll be able to find like a hat or a T-shirt or something.
You know what? And if you don't, I'd be more than happy to pick one up for you. Hey, I look forward to seeing you in Montreal, and all the best to you. Good luck at Elimination Chamber and for the rest of your career. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on Sick Podcast.
You're very welcome. There you have it. She's Raquel Rodriguez of the WWE. This podcast is Sick. Saturday night, Elimination Chamber at the Bell Center. Cheer her on in the 6 women's Elimination Chamber match. I'll be there. Of course I will. I'm Marinaro. And welcome back. All right. Okay. So for those wondering, yes, it was pre-recorded. I told you it was. Hey, look, I'm wearing the same shirt. There's the same beer can. And, I could have made it pass as it was alive. It's the first pre-recorded interview that I brought on like that because, you know what? I was told I had an opportunity to speak with Raquel Rodriguez, and she's very engaging, as you saw. She's very, very talented. I wanted to know a little bit more about her, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. And I was told that she was available yesterday morning, and I jumped on it, and I recorded it. Hey, look, not everyone's going to be available at 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. or, whatever, even later than that. So I took it. And going forward, and Yellow and I had this conversation because, once again, being available at 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. isn't easy for everyone. If I have a chance to get an interview that I think is worthwhile and I have to record it earlier in the morning or earlier in the afternoon or whatever it is, I'm going to jump on that opportunity and I'm going to do it. And we're just going to take it. I'm going to tell you, I pre-recorded a chat and I'm just going to bring it on. There you have it. Other than that, everything else is live, and we are live right now on this Thursday, February 16th. It is 1 minute before 11 p.m. Eastern. And look, I'm a big wrestling fan. I used to be a huge wrestling fan as a kid, but when they come to Montreal, it's a real good show, especially for events that are televised. Friday night SmackDown is going to be a televised event. And Saturday night's Elimination Chamber is going to be a pay-per-view event. It's going to be the last pay-per-view event before WrestleMania. So this is going to be absolutely awesome. So I look forward to seeing you at the Bell Center on Friday and on Saturday. And I will be at La Cage at the Bell Center having a bite to eat before both events. I hope to see you there. Once again, in case you missed it, the Montreal Canadiens lost to the Carolina Hurricanes by a score of 6-2. Seth Jarvis had his first career NHL hat trick, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi scored a real nice goal, and it was a long night for a lot of Montreal Canadiens players. Not for Pizzetta and Raphael Harvey-Pinard, who were the lone goal scorers, but other than that, it was a long night. George Larac was supposed to join me tonight. He's a regular contributor on Thursday nights, and I don't know. He was getting ready with his pillow before this show started, and he probably fell asleep on that pillow. What can I tell you? George and the pillow. Now you know what's going to happen, right? Why did I bring this up? You ever have those nights where you go to bed, but you just can't sleep because you keep thinking of something funny and you keep laughing over and over again? And sometimes you start laughing at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what I think is going to happen to me tonight. I'm going to have this visual of George and his pillow, which we've seen over the last month, and I'm just going to keep on laughing. But you know what? Laughter is a good thing. And I hope you had a couple of laughs tonight. I hope I made you laugh. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Like this podcast, share it with your friends, comment SICK, SICK. And if you get to listen to us on Spotify, Google, or Apple, and you want to leave us a 5-star review, we really appreciate it. It goes a long way for us. Tomorrow night, the SICK podcast will be back. Same time, same place at 10 p.m. The Montreal Canadiens will be off tomorrow. They'll have a practice day likely. They'll travel to Toronto because they visit the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday. And I hope for that caller earlier tonight that the Leafs win. So it'll make him happy. We're okay with the Leafs winning regular season games. And we're happy when they lose playoff games and playoff series. I'm Marinaro, the SICK podcast.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the SICK Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The SICK Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Tibi, embrace your true nature. And La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the cup, it's time you went back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you.